What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, shocking information came out. Epic, or shocking, however you so choose to look at it, as 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who currently is the undisputed super middleweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the face of the sport of boxing, top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's 58 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. He will make his annual ring return Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 6th of this year, and he's going to face off against John Ryder. Okay, John Ryder is a British star, super middleweight title contender. John Ryder has a record of 32 wins, 5 losses, no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out one time. He's 34 years of age, 5'9" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, he knocked out Zach Parker in his last fight, which was November of this year. He beat Danny Jacobs before that. So he's coming off of 2 big wins in his career. That's not what's shocking. The shocking part and the epic part about this is that this fight is going to take place in Mexico City. And for this fight to take place, because of the economy, Canelo Alvarez is going to take a massive pay cut, right? He normally makes around $30+ million. In his last fight, it was reported that he made $45 million for his fight against, and his trilogy against middleweight world champion superstar boxer Gennady Triple G Golovkin. He made about $45 million. That's what was reported that Canelo Alvarez made, right? For this fight with John Ryder, for him to go back home, Canelo Alvarez is going to take a major pay cut, and he's set to make $14 million. That is a low. The last time Canelo Alvarez took money that low has been a very, very long time, okay? So he's on the verge of taking a major pay cut, and this is so that he can stage this fight in his hometown, right? In Mexico City, right? It's said to be at the Jalisco Stadium. You know, it holds 55,000 people in this arena, and this is a homecoming fight. You know, it's in Guadalajara, Mexico, right? I can't. I'm having a tongue twister. But no. With that said, you know, Canelo Alvarez, 55,000 seat arena. He's more than likely going to sell it out. There's no question he's going to sell it out. Again, John Ryder is the lead, you know, fighter for Canelo Alvarez to have this fight. This is a fight that Canelo Alvarez definitely wants to fight a guy like John Ryder, where he can assure he looks good. You don't want to fight the Demetrius Andrades, the David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. He already beat Jamal Charlo, Dimitri Bivol, who he lost to 2 fights ago. David Morrell, Artur Beterbiev, you know, these types of fighters. You know, he wants to assure that he gets a victory, right? And he can look good doing so. And John Ryder, you know, he's a southpaw. You know, it's not easy to look good against John Ryder, but he's definitely beatable for Canelo Alvarez, right? And but Canelo Alvarez is set to make $14 million for this fight. That's a long way off from his annual $32 million since he partnered with DAZN, Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. You know, in his last few fights with Golden Boy, he's been making upwards of $25 to $30 million a fight. And now to secure this fight and assure that he's going to be able to have this fight and the fans are going to be able to support him, he's going to take a major pay cut, right? Typical Canelo Alvarez fashion, right? Because, you know, Canelo Alvarez, you know, is about giving back to his people, right? So it's ironic that he would take a major pay cut to assure that he can fight back in his hometown and that fans can be there in attendance. And we can't get the big fights and the big fighters to come to an agreement for nothing, okay? So with that said, it says that Canelo Alvarez, John Ryder should be done, you know, in the next day or so for a May 6th showdown. and he's going to take a major pay cut, right? Now, this is something that Canelo Alvarez can afford to do that other fighters just simply can't. Not many fighters can afford to take a $20 million pay cut, right? What is it, about $18 million pay cut from his normal annual $30+ million paydays, right? But Canelo Alvarez has been making massive amounts of money. Canelo Alvarez has been the face of boxing since he lost to Floyd Mayweather, some time ago. So since then, he's been the pay-per-view star. He's done 1 million pay-per-views after Floyd Mayweather fight. That fight took place in 2013. That was 10 years ago. So essentially, Floyd Mayweather was, still campaigning in the sport. But Canelo Alvarez at the time, after that, he was top 5 pound for pound faces of the sport of boxing. You had Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and then, it was then Canelo Alvarez, right? So with that said, he's been the face of the sport of boxing, and he's been making massive paydays for quite some time. So he can afford to take these types of pay cuts. But, it's normally not in the fighter's nature to take these types of pay cuts. It's just not within them. Normally fighters want to secure as much money as they possibly can going into any fight, right? And, this just goes to show the character of Canelo Alvarez and the respect he has for his country in Mexico, right? That just goes to show, how much he values, his country in Mexico, how much he values his roots, how much he values, his people. And, I thought this was interesting because you just can't get this. I wish you could get this type of outlook and this type of respect from the African-American fighters within the sport of boxing and in just sports overall, right? And you just don't get it. It just doesn't happen, right? And so, again, Canelo Alvarez, he's going to fight again. He has 2 annual dates that he was adamant about taking these dates from Floyd Mayweather, which is Cinco de Mayo weekend and it's Mexican Independence Day weekend. These 2 dates, Canelo Alvarez was anal about taking these dates. These are the 2 dates Floyd Mayweather made his own. Okay, May Day, and Canelo Alvarez, before he fought Floyd Mayweather, he was adamant. I'm taking our dates back. This is our dates. I'm taking it back. He values them. And we have African-American fighters that value fighting on Cinco de Mayo rather than fighting in February, Black History Month, or fighting, a Juneteenth weekend in June, right? We have African-American black athletes and fighters that are more eager to fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend and Mexican Independence Day weekend in September, more so than they are building their own legacy in their own dates. February should be a date where African-American fighters should be clamoring to fight on against other African-American fighters. Canelo is so adamant about respecting his country and respecting his people that he recently came out and stated that he don't have no interest in fighting no other Mexican fighters, no other Mexican-born fighters. He don't want to do it because he feels like it goes against his beliefs. It goes against his culture. It goes against his people. This is the belief. This is the mindset of Canelo Alvarez. And yet we'll argue and debate. We have 2 fighters at the pinnacle right now of their careers, in Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And the most we could get to fighting is amongst each other. Is amongst each other. That's the closest thing we could get to them fighting. And the blame game and the finger pointing. And I don't support this fighter and I don't support that fighter. No wonder they don't think that the African-American fighters and athletes can sell, because they don't believe that their community is going to show up and show out for them, because we too busy fighting each other and debating each other and trying to prove who's right. And we're not seeing them fight at all. Amazing, isn't it? But again, kudos and hats off to Canelo Alvarez, man, for always, staying true to who he is, his roots, and his people, man. That's a blessing to him and his Mexican fan base and his Mexican people. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going. Peace.